Today it's gone, it's really gone to a new level, with bribes of Viagra and massage parlors to the powerful aldermen of one of the only growing wards in the city. The biggest race of all is in 28 days, and the money class of pay to play is in a panic. 4 of the media's anointed frontrunners, Preckwinkle, Chico, Mendoza, and Daly, are raising money from the usual sources and buying commercials to preach ethics, while there exist constant stories about each of them having been baptized and raised in the pay-to-play culture. Daly preaches ethics, while his nephew is on the cover of the Sun-Times for making millions of dollars for himself while losing tens of millions of dollars of city workers' pension savings. Daly's son worked for the financial institution that brokered the parking meter deal, and while he has personally made tens of millions of dollars, and he wants us to trust him, he still hasn't released his tax returns. We're still waiting for the details of his tax returns. You don't release your tax returns unless you're hiding something. Don't preach ethics if you're afraid to release your tax returns. And then we have Comptroller Mendoza announcing her recent ethics plan. Why do you need someone else to draft your ethics plan? Because when you're comptroller of the state of Illinois and you decide which of the state's bills get paid, it's not ethical to take $100,000 from a company that makes tens of millions of dollars buying those bills and therefore benefits by how fast we pay them. She wants to change the story, but she's simply the next generation of machine politics. And then we have Tony Preckwinkle. I'm sorry, but when you give Burke's son a job paying $100,000 a year, and then Burke raises you money, including over $100,000 in a single night, it's not ethical to drag your feet in answering questions as to whether or not Burke asked you to hire him. You can't pretend you're not embedded in the pay-to-play culture. And then there's Gary Chico. He runs commercials touting his successes at the Chicago Public Schools while he was CEO and he was board president, meeting with board members once a month. Sorry, Gary. While I was running the school system, you were abstaining from voting over 500 times because of your clients' interests. Chico's law firm's businesses grew by over $500 million while he served as board president. It's not ethical to use your appointed position to make millions for yourself and clients and then take credit for other people's work. In closing, why does this pay-to-play culture continue? Why don't they go to jail? Because the people like this write the laws. They set the rules. And if we keep electing people like this, we continue to get the pay-to-play culture that is sapping the city of its economic vitality and destroying the city's international reputation. The pay-to-play insiders decide who gets the money and who doesn't, who has the money for nonstop commercials and who doesn't. Then people in the media go along with the scheme by deciding for voters who has the chance to win based on how much money the candidates have raised, not which candidates have the best ideas. It's no wonder when we have politicians that are part of the pay-to-play machine, Chicago gets the results that it's been getting over the past decades. Chicago currently is the fastest shrinking city in America, one of the most violent big cities in America, with one of the worst financial conditions of any of the city's large metropolises. It has the highest taxes and fees and fines in our 185-year history. I have offered specific plans on how to address the city's financial issues, and the issues of public safety, and the issues of economic development, and the issues of school improvement and school reform. I don't outsource my ethics. My ethics are organic to my career as a person in public safety, and in public service. As mayor, I will work as hard as humanly possible to make good on my plans to improve life for every Chicagoan. I will stop this pay-to-play nightmare. Chicago, it's time to wake up. If you really want change, you're going to have to vote for real change. Okay, any questions?
Yeah. What does it do to a campaign like this to have so much of it be driven by the headline, be driven by the issue of corruption as opposed to all the other things that have mayor would have to deal with?
Well, I'll tell you, it certainly crowds out a discussion of the, of the substantive, of the critical issues that the city is facing, and it certainly drowns out the ideas and the proposals that are emerging from candidates who have real solutions, who have real plans to address those issues. But look, the underlying issue is corruption. The underlying issue is pay to play. I mean, think about it for a second. You have a government and a political machine that is joined at the hip. They're like co-joined twins sharing the same organ, and that organ is money. You want to appeal your property taxes in this convoluted, inequitable property tax system, you hire politically connected firms to file your tax appeals. You put them on retainer. So they continually, in effect tax you. You want to get your zoning so that you can expand your business, put an addition on your house, convert a unimproved unit to a garden unit. You gotta hire politically connected zoning firms that specialize in zoning. You want to get a license? You hire companies that are politically connected to help you get your license, your liquor license, etc. So the system itself just saps the city of its vitality. It gets a piece of the action. It's constantly taking money from you to sustain itself. And in these firms that get the money, they make the contributions to the candidates, and very often these candidates, move from the public sector to the private sector. The private sector being the private sector firms that are actually getting contracts with the city, and then sometimes these individuals who serve self-righteously on boards use their positions on their boards to get more money for their firms. I mean, it's an incestuous relationship, and it's one that is taxing the city. It is taxing the city and sapping the city of its economic vitality, and we have to break it. We have to break it because at the end of the day, it's this, it's having an adverse effect, on the entire city. I mean, we see development only occurring in 20% of the city. The remaining 80% of the city has either been stagnant or has seen significant disinvestment. There are areas of the city that have been in a depression state for the last 30 to 40 years. So that dynamic doesn't change unless you elect a mayor who is not part of the pay-to-play culture, but also unless you select a mayor who has the capacity to run the city and has demonstrated the capacity to run the city in a way that benefits the entire city, that benefits all of our communities. Yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
Frank?
What did you see in the allegations against Victor Madigan? You know him, you worked with him, you were down in Springfield. I mean, do you see anything illegal here? Do you see anything problematic here? Do you see any reason for him to step down as speaker or as party chairman?
Yeah, look, my position is there are clearly people in positions of power who also have businesses that make money off the system. Now, the question is it legal or is it illegal? I mean, the FBI is investigating. They'll draw their own conclusions. But the bottom line is I have a problem with that type of a system. I have a problem when elected officials can hold public office, whether it's for one term or multiple terms, and they are making money on the side. There's no incentive. If you're making money on a convoluted property tax system, then you might not have the incentive to go in and actually bring about the changes to that system, to make the system more accessible, to make property tax appeals easier and more affordable. So at the end of the day, the system is designed to allow people to make money, sometimes when they're in government, certainly when they leave government. And I think that system, that pay-to-play system, has a corrupting effect, on the political system in Chicago. And so at the end of no, I am answering the question. I don't want to say that somebody's guilty, before the FBI has completed their investigation, or for that matter, has concluded whether or not somebody violated the law. I think what I'm saying here is, look, what I've proposed in my ethics plan should answer the question. Number one, I believe people in elected positions should not be able to profit in any way connected to the operation of government, whether it's property tax appeals, zoning, whether it's lobbying for companies. I think we need a clear break between individuals who are holding elected office and individuals who are working and profiting from the relationship with the city. So, so I want to remove the temptation to have conflicts of interest by basically saying whether it's the speaker or whether it's a Gary Chico serving on a board, or whether it's an alderman, that they shouldn't be able to earn money. They shouldn't be able to generate income, from the city in any capacity, either directly or indirectly. While they're holding elected office, while they're sitting on a board, I just think we need a clear demarcation. Yeah.
What issues haven't been aired because we've all been so focused on corruption?
Well, look, the failure to release tax returns, what ended up being a one-day story. I mean, have you been asking people? Seriously, no. What I'm saying is, every single day you should ask the candidate, why weren't you releasing tax returns? Why won't you provide the details? The city is on the financial brink, but yet how much time are we actually spending looking at the candidates' proposals on how we're going to address our pension issue, or how we're going to structurally balance our budget, or how we're going to rebuild our police department and give the police department the resources and the support that they need to be effective. So I think there's been an absence. Of discussion and focus on what the candidates are proposing. Look, Daley put something out yesterday, and he says, he's going to provide $1 billion in incentives, and suddenly he's going to create 100,000 manufacturing jobs in the city. Well, first of all, the absence of details was just appalling. But this is the guy who gave us NAFTA. This is the guy who gave us NAFTA, which in effect decimated the manufacturing base of the city. And yet no one's asking him those questions. Yet people are responding, some people in the press are responding to what he proposed as if it's a serious proposal. So clearly this is a distraction, but hopefully, the message has got to get out that the individuals who decided to run after Emanuel dropped out, particularly the Burke Four, who were silent in criticizing Rahm Emanuel before he decided to withdraw, are all connected. They're all part of this moneyed class. You've seen it. You've seen it with the Burke connections, and I think you're going to continue to see those connections articulated in even more detail as we get into the closing weeks of the campaign. The public needs to understand, and this is my message to the public, that if you're going to sweep out the pay-to-play culture, the sweeping has to begin at City Hall. The sweeping has got to begin at the mayor's office, and we've got to block the machine from just bringing someone else in who may be a fresher face, but he or she is still a part of that pay-to-play process that got this city in the mess that it's in the first place. Any other?
Thank you.
All right.